Today, we're doing a quick chat on ChatGPT on activity, problem, project-based learning, and the next generation science standards. How can we use ChatGPT to help us become creative with our activities in STEM education or STEM initiatives, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics? And we can infuse a lot of things with ChatGPT, STEM, and APBL. We're going to be live on Clubhouse, so I'll be doing a little bit of editing throughout this, and I'm hopeful to break this into 4 sections. So thank you. If I don't, in the description will be the chapters. All you have to do is click on the different chapters that you would like to listen to this up to YouTube later. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm in ChatGPT and I'm not live. I typically go live on YouTube, and I'm going to throw in a prompt. And I am going to ask ChatGPT to explain to me what STEM education is. Explain, and I'm going to do it from a perspective of where I don't know. So explain STEM education to me as a parent who doesn't have a child in this type of program. And then I'm going to say, also, tell me why it's important for my children to have access at an early age. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I'm wondering if it's going to come up with what I wanted it to come up with based on my own research. It says STEM education stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics education. It is a type of curriculum that integrates these subjects to create a cohesive learning experience that helps students develop critical thinking, problem solving, and analytical skills. The importance of STEM education lies in the fact that it prepares students for future careers in fields that are rapidly expanding and evolving. The job market is changing, and there is a growing demand for individuals who have a strong foundation in STEM subjects. As technology advances, it becomes more important for people to understand and utilize it in their daily lives and careers. STEM education also provides students with opportunities to explore different interests and pursue diverse careers. And it goes on, and then it says, early exposure to STEM education is essential because it allows children to develop foundational skills at an early age. It helps them develop a love for learning and provides them with opportunities to explore their interests and passions. Okay, that was key. That was huge. And let me tell you why. Because based on my research, that the younger a child has access to STEM, they increase their perception and their self-efficacy and their interest in this area. And you don't have to go into STEM initiatives to have a background in it. For example, if your kids get older and they wanted to go into politics, if they don't have a background in STEM, how do they get to argue global warming? Or how do they argue efficient energy, electric cars versus gas cars? How do they argue wind turbines? How do they argue satellites around the Earth and how much it costs to send a satellite into space, or how much the payload is to send astronauts into space to even go to the moon, or, in maybe not in our lifetime, but to send people to live on Mars. So if we don't have those conversations and give them access, they are less likely by the time they go into middle school, feel like they can actually change the world or have an interest in it or believe it's hard. And it's specifically interesting for girls. Girls are less likely to persevere or pursue STEM education after age 11 if they were not exposed to it at a younger age. And they typically will end up in what we call the arts or literature, because girls, by the time they're in 2nd grade, my research, are more likely to be very linguistic and very verbal and very good writers by the time they're in 2nd grade, comparatively speaking, compared to boys. And boys, because of our biases in schools, we tend to push boys towards hands-on initiatives and less likely push girls into hands-on initiatives, just because of the background of their brain development. And we have to put them in front of it. So I would ask ChatGPT and push it a little bit and say, give me And so I'm just going to say, give me peer-reviewed articles, meaning a peer-reviewed article is where researchers get together or by themselves and they write an article based on some research that they either gathered, literature, or that they created, and they were approved by what we call an institutional review board, and other peers read it and say, yes, this is valid. We like it. So that's basically it. So give me peer-reviewed articles about early childhood and access to STEM. I'm going to even push it even farther and say, put it in APA format. You could say MLA, and that basically is the writing style. And this is the psychology writing style. Typically, education uses APA. And it's giving me at least the most recent research based on ChatGPT. ChatGPT does not go past 2021 for now. You probably can go past it if you use the Bing research, if you use ChatGPT's integration with OpenAI, because it has access to the internet. If you didn't know this, OpenAI does not have direct access to the internet. Now, it only gave me, two. It says PAL, STEM in early childhood education, a review of literature, and then it gave me Hirsch and Pasek, which I know about that one, putting education in educational apps, lessons for the science of learning. There are hundreds upon hundreds, even thousands of articles, so it's missing a few. And I know there are some based on my research, so I would even push it a little bit harder, but I'm not going to do that right now. But based on this research, which is really fun, in my opinion, if you want to come up and chat about ChatGPT, I am pushing it. I'm talking about STEM and activity problem project-based learning using ChatGPT. And if you're a parent, here's the next thing I want to give you a key on. You can ask ChatGPT to give you science experiment ideas in STEM. So I would say science and engineering experiments that are award-winning or added on research that will allow your child to move on to what we call the county here in California or state level. And what can I do to push ChatGPT to give me those experiments? So I'm going to ask ChatGPT, what science and engineering experiments are available as a test. And the reason why I'm saying a test is because sometimes demonstrations in science fairs, that's a no-no. We get a lot of demonstrations. When I judge them, I will judge them fairly, but we don't move them on because anybody can do a demonstration. For example, a volcano is a demonstration, but we're looking for experiments that are available as a test that will allow my child to, let's see, let me pick one that I really like, to test both the engineering of wind turbines and the science of sustainable energy. And the reason why I'm doing sustainable energy is because I know that we use wind turbines here in California in the Palm Springs area. We have a farm of wind turbines. If you ever drive to Palm Springs from LA and you go east, you will see these wind turbines. They're beautiful. And some have one, what we call blades, 2 blades, 3 blades, and more than that. And you can test those different blades. And then, so I'm going to ask, so it's going to give me some experiments based on, there are several science experiments for wind turbines. Have your child design and build a turbine. Your child can investigate the relationship between wind speed and the amount of energy produced, renewable energy sources, energy storage, environmental impact, wind farm design. So it is giving me these 6 places. Now, I really like this, but let's say I wanted to grab one of them. I am going to grab the first one, which is the wind turbine design. It gives you more information on this. So I'm going to grab this one. I'm going to say, using this suggestion, and I'm going to put it in brackets so it knows which one I want. I'm not going to hit enter yet. I pasted it, Control C to copy, Control V to paste. and consider grade 9, and the student has a background in research of how to build wind turbines at an advanced rate. Consider research. I'm going to push it now because I know this one. Consider research designs from London and France that look more appealing than what is typical. Add a test to this. Now, I know I'm a science educator, and I know that one of my daughters did wind turbines, and we found wind turbines out of the country that actually look like trees. And they're little bitty leaves that spin, and they're very nice. So I'm asking it to look at some things outside of the United States. And now it's, okay, I'm going to tell you what it's doing. It's research innovative and turbine designs from around the world, especially from countries like Denmark and the Netherlands, where wind energy is widely used. Look for designs that have been successful in producing more energy and also visually appealing. Research wind patterns and speed in your area. This will help your child design a wind turbine that is optimized for local wind conditions. And then it gives you the design process. Encourage your child to use more advanced materials. Ask your child to experiment with different blade shapes and sizes. So that's key. And then consider adding a variable pitch mechanism to the blade. So the assumption is the child will know what to do. And then the test is to test the efficiency of the wind turbine model. Your child can measure the rotational speed of the turbine using a tachometer. And then calculate the power output using the formula. And there is a formula here that I'm going with. And I don't know this formula because I'm actually going to have to look it up. So I'm going to copy this formula and tell it to explain formula in complete words, because I have somewhat of an idea. Okay, so this formula is used to calculate the power output of a wind turbine. P represents the power output, okay, in watts, okay, that the wind turbine is capable of producing. P is the density of air, lowercase subscript P, which affects the amount of energy that can be extracted from the wind. I want to ask them, what is this symbol? Because I don't remember. This symbol, rho, that's right, it's rho. I should know that. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot. Rho is the density of air, which affects the amount of energy that can be extracted from the wind. A is the swept area of the blades, or the total area of the blades. So it's giving me the coefficient performance. V represents the wind speed, because we saw velocity for V. So it's getting really, really specific. But there are children that can do this because this is what they're doing. I'm not a physics major, but it's certainly something that anybody that wants to do the research can broaden their perspective. Now, okay, so now we talked a little bit about science fair. I want to talk about one other area, and it's the science and engineering practices. So I'm in the science standards for the state, for next generation science standards, and I'm going to bypass and go directly to read the standards. And I'm going to select a grade 5. I am going to select a discipline, since my background is life science, and I am going to ask it to be very specific now with life science. And I'm going to look at organization for matter, and I'm going to submit it. So now what it's going to do is give me a standard for life science for molecules to organisms. I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to create a new chat, and I'm going to throw this into ChatGPT, and I'm going to say this is for teachers now. Of course, I went too fast because I hit enter, I didn't mean to. Okay, yeah, using the above standard, create a lesson plan for grade 5 using this performance expectation. And I want to click on the actual performance expectation because it widens the lens here. And I'm also going to, on the right side, I'm going to go to the relevant evidence statement here. I'm going to grab this relevant statement. It says observable features of the student performance by the end of the grade. So it's giving me the phenomenon. So I'm going to hit Control C, throw this in here and say, use the evidence statement as well and create a 5-week lesson plan using the language of the discipline. And I'm going to go back to the science and engineering practices, disciplinary core ideas, and cross-cutting concepts, and grab this, copy it, Control C, consider the following information in the lesson as well. Also note that the teacher will need background research and videos to help with the learning outcomes. And I'm just going to select enter. And it's going to give me grade level. It's giving me the performance expectation. It's giving me week 1, introduction to plants and their needs. Week 2, where do plants get their materials? It's now going into week 3, air and plants. And objective, students will learn about the role of air and plant growth. And then week 4. And I want to see if it's going to actually give me all of the information that it's considered at the top, because I don't know if it gave me, it didn't. So please add this, this information, which I've pasted back, the science and engineering practices, disciplinary core ideas, and the cross-cutting concepts. And find articles that are student friendly and new teacher friendly, that with links, with active links. So now it's giving me this information again, and it's asking, it's putting all the cross-cutting concepts in there. It's restating the lesson plan, which I really appreciate. And it's adding the arguments with the science and engineering practices. So it's looking at support and argument with evidence, data, and model, which I wasn't expecting it to do that, but I'm quite appreciative of that. And what I want to do is I'm also going to post the link for the next generation science standards. So if you're listening to the replay later, you will have it. Let me add this link, switch it out. And there we go. So it stopped at assessment here. Continue with assessment and add a activity problem, project-based learning activity for this lesson. This will be the experiment that will be done through the entire, or done during the entire 5 weeks. So now it's giving you the activity problem-based learning project. It's giving you what the students should do. It's telling you what you're going to be looking for, and then it's telling you what arguments. And now I'm going to say, find a storyline that will help with the activity. Create a more robust activity. And it's given a storyline. The student will take on the role of a botanist who have been hired by a local gardening center to investigate why some plants in their greenhouse are not growing as well as others. And each week is telling them what to do. And you could have students design this process. And again, I am recording this on Zoom as well, so that I will post this link in the ChatGPT EDU house so that you can watch what I'm doing, because I went over the next generation science practices, science standards, the activity problem project-based learning. And I also gave you some science and engineering, science and engineering experiments that you can do, or what prompts. And I'll throw these prompts right in the YouTube feed as well. So with that, this was kind of fun. And I know that many of you are going to come back and listen to the replay because you said you couldn't come at this time, but I do appreciate you for being here in the ChatGPT EDU house. We talked for about an hour after the original ChatGPT demonstration. And if you wanted to listen to the ChatGPT EDU Clubhouse audio, I threw that in the description. We did have a great conversation, how other people around the world are using ChatGPT and how they're using it in their business, for personal, for travel, in their own organization, maybe just to write a letter, an email, and even doing some research. So go ahead, listen to that. It's fun. You can skip through it and increase the speed if you want to. Thank you so much for listening. Please make sure you like, subscribe, comment. Tell me how you're using ChatGPT. I'm very, very curious, and I appreciate you. And use me as a resource. Ask me. I will create the YouTube video and help you grapple with ChatGPT, push back, argue with it, tell it thank you, tell it no thank you, and have fun and have a lot of creativity using ChatGPT. Thank you so much.